Welcome to Better Life, Better Business, your go-to podcast for how you can grow your business, double your productivity and time off, work smarter and not harder. Brought to you by local business coaching expert Christoph Nauer, CEO of Balance 6 in Walnut Creek, California.
Welcome back to Better Life, Better Business with local business coach and time management expert Christoph Nauer of Balance 6. I'm Rebecca Troxel, founder and CEO of Rebecca's Vault, and also your host. We are once again having some great interviews and conversations with business owners about not only what they can do to help you with time and in your business, but things they have learned, experienced, and improved on as they navigate the world of being an entrepreneur.
Well, thank you, Rebecca. And welcome back, everyone. I'm Christoph Nauer of Balance 6. And today I'm going to be able to talk with Kathy Scalzo. Hi, Kathy. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me, Christoph and Rebecca.
Great to have you. And as you know, and I know the listeners by now know that too, but I keep saying it, that the purpose of my podcast really is to provide excellent resources, helpful tools, and tips for business owners. And that's exactly why I wanted you to be here as a guest, Kathy. Please tell us a little bit about what it is you do and how you bring value to business owners and entrepreneurs.
Well, I help business owners and investors take back control of their money by taking back the banking function in their life. So I show them how they can be their own bank and take loans from their own special account instead of from the bank. And when they take these loans, they're using their cash value as collateral. So their cash value is continuing to earn interest, even though they're using the money. So they get to use the money twice. They get to save for the future and use the money now without interrupting that compounding growth.
Wow. So are you saying that they learn to pay themselves interest?
They can pay themselves interest, but the money that they have to, the interest they're paying on the loan is going to the insurance company that they're borrowing the money from. But ideally, they can, a business owner can actually have a personal account which they borrow money from. They can charge themselves a fair amount of interest. So the interest outside of the interest going to the insurance company could potentially be a tax deduction. So they get a tax deduction and grow their money even faster.
That's fantastic. Actually, I just checked with my accountant about that and said, can I be the bank for my own business? Can I give my business a loan and then my business pays me interest? And she said yes. So
awesome.
All right, that is fantastic. So Kathy, what's one thing you wish you had known when you began your business?
Well, when I started in financial services, I was offering different products that didn't really align with me because it was great because I had recently come into an inheritance, so I was searching for ways to make my money work for me, and that's when I came across this financial services and how they help people so much with their future and retirement. It was really great, but I was really looking for a way that I would be able to access my money if I needed it. I didn't want to have to wait to retirement to access it. So then just last year, I discovered this other concept of making your money work for you in the future and being able to access it now with no penalties. So I only wish I had known that, not only when I started in financial services, but many, many years ago, I wish I had known that. But better to know now than not at all.
I guess you and I and pretty much anybody else on this call probably.
Yeah.
What is your biggest challenge right now, Kathy?
My biggest challenge is really getting people to understand the power of this concept, because I talk about making your dollar work for you in multiple places at the same time, and people are intrigued. But then as soon as I say the word life insurance, it's just a block. They don't want to hear it. So that's a very big challenge for me to get past that, the preconceptions of what life insurance is, because people think of it as death insurance, and these specially designed policies are focused on using it in your life and not just for your death benefit for your family. But the death benefit is a nice little bonus.
You're absolutely right. Because when I brought this up to my kids, 30, 28, and 26, they did exactly that. That was their response. So I'm learning to try to figure out a way not to use that word life insurance, and um,
Mhm.
so we need people like you to educate, especially our younger generation, on the power of that. Because I just learned recently that it was Walt Disney actually used his life insurance policy to build his empire.
That's right. He
Anybody
sure
ever
did.
hear of Walt Disney?
I bet a few of your listeners have heard of him.
I would imagine so. So it's almost sounds like it's one of those best kept secrets.
It absolutely is. Mhm.
Kathy, what are some of the best resources that have helped you along the way?
Well, the book that completely changed my paradigm about how money works is Becoming Your Own Banker by R. Nelson Nash. It just completely opened my eyes, and I've been just fascinated with the concept ever since. So I've been just reading more and more. And then another book that I read that really explains it really well in a short version is The And Asset by Caleb Gilliams. It talks about how life insurance is in addition to any other asset. Like, people argue that whole life insurance is a terrible investment, and they're absolutely right, because it's not an investment at all. It's a savings vehicle to add to any investment that you have to make it work for you even better.
All
Those are
right. So
two of
in
my
case
favorite resources.
Good, thank you. In case you were not able to capture those titles and author names, we're going to put that information in the description of the video. So don't worry about it. We will make those resources available to you, because as you heard me say in the beginning, this is about providing great resources to you, my listeners. So thank you, Kathy. Let's shift gears a little bit. I mean, you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, so that means you got to get a lot of stuff done. What role does delegating play in your life or in your business?
Well, right now, I'm not all that great at delegating, to be honest with you, but I am actually in the process of joining a team where I'm going to have a whole team of people to design these policies and work with the clients throughout the years to make sure that they're making best use of these policies. So it's nice that we're all going to be working together in the best interest of the clients.
I like what you said, team.
Yeah.
To have a team available, and Rebecca knows that quite well because she has built teams several times in her career. So
Yeah,
thank you.
that's true. I've built several successful teams in my different careers because of the help and guidance of Christoph. He's actually always done workshops and coaching with my teams as well, because I've always seen it as a team can do so much more than just one person can alone. So I think that's awesome. Speaking of which, something that I'm always curious about when we have guests is prioritizing. In the past, we've discussed things like the 80-20 rule, the ABCDE method, proactive procrastination. What do you do to prioritize?
I do have challenges with that for sure, but I do find something that helps me just start my day better is waking up early. Like, I try to wake up between 5 and 6 a.m. and start my day, with the power hour. Wake up 20 minutes of exercise, 20 minutes of meditation or reading, and 20 minutes of journaling. When I do that, things just seem to go much better. And then, of course, I have to have everything in my calendar. So if I don't put it in my calendar, then I forget, it doesn't get done. So I actually just this week finally put yoga into my calendar because I have the opportunity to go to this great yoga class every morning, and I haven't been taking advantage of it. Now I put it in my calendar. So now that all this week I've been going. So
that's awesome. And that's important, prioritizing, because you're prioritizing yourself. And that's also something Christoph talks about quite a bit, is how important that is.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And what you just said, Kathy, that you put it in your calendar, that is such a key component, and the likelihood of it to happen now probably is 80 to 90% higher than before. I think that's fantastic. And the love your morning routine. I talk to my clients about it all the time. It's really critical, and so I personally had to take my own advice, and so a few months ago I started, implementing. I was meditating before, but then I added the 20 minutes on the bike, stationary bike, to it afterwards. And so, you know, I'm like most people, okay, in the morning, I feel like, okay, why not? Come on, let me turn over again and just snooze a little bit later.
Yep.
Right.
And I've done that. And you know what? I didn't feel the same way than when I do stick with my routine. When I meditate, hop on the bike, get that pump going and the sweat going, then, you know, my day is different than when I don't do it. You know, so I love to hear that from other people that they're doing it as well. I think that's fantastic. It kind of reaffirms what I'm saying is it works for others as well, you know. So, and you're right, the part about the calendar, it doesn't happen otherwise. So you may or may not know that only about 3% of people have written goals for their business and their lives. How do you handle goal setting? And are you part of the 3%? And if not, are you going to join the 3% after today?
Yeah, I think I need to join the 3%. I'm not good about writing down my goals. So I keep hearing how important it is. So I think it's about time I started implementing that.
All right. And if you need a little bit of help, you know, we have a podcast on that. You know, we've recorded that quite a while ago. And because it's really critical, it talks about the importance of clarity and knowing where we want to go. And in that podcast, it talk about, you know, do we ever get on a ship if the captain doesn't have a clue where he or she was going? I don't think anybody would do that, right? Just let the waves decide where we end up. But we do that with our lives so often, you know. And part of it too is if we start looking at our written goals, you know, on a regular basis to see, okay, how are we doing? You know, do we need to make some adjustments? Was the goal a little bit too, you know, pushy? I mean, too much outside our comfort zone? Do we need to adjust it? Or do we need to adjust what we're doing about it? You know, we can do it either way, you know. So it's great stuff. Just go to my podcast channel. You can also access from my website and listen to some of those that can help you. So now the next question is probably pretty obvious, even though I asked you at the beginning of this podcast. One of the 6 in my business name is money, you know, because we all need to make money because we got to pay our bills. And ultimately, that's one of the reasons why I go business for ourselves. So this is the one that you would like to address. The others, as most of my listeners already know, are time, health, relationships, self-improvement, and higher power. And if you're listening, that means you're doing something for your self-improvement. That's why you're here. That's fantastic. So Kathy, I would imagine you have a few more tips for us in regards to this interesting concept of money and what business owners can do about that.
Yeah, well, the best tip I have is to give each dollar more than one job. Like people think, you know, well, there's 2 different kinds of people, like the savers and the spenders. So people will save for something they want and then buy it, and then they're back to the same place again. So they you know, they put it on their credit card and then they have to work to pay off the credit card, and then it's paid off, and then they charge something else on it. So with these specially designed policies, you can make your money work twice. You can, you know, grow your money and then borrow from your cash value. So your money is still growing, and then you're using that money to either pay off your debt or improve your investments. So people feel like they're drowning in debt. They have no hope. Their business is going to go under. But this is just a way to get out of debt quicker. I can show people how to, you know, pay off their mortgage in 1/2 to 1/3 of the time by not having any change in their lifestyle. So not all debt is bad. So that's one thing. People tend to think that, you know, they don't want any debt, but sometimes debt is a good thing. Because, you know, you don't want to be, you know, charging everything on your credit cards, but other than that, it might be good. Let's see. You want to pay tax on the seed, not the harvest. That's really important, because, you know, like all these 401k plans and everything, it's really great because you get to defer your taxes, but then you end up paying taxes on all the growth as well. So you end up paying way more money. So it's a much better idea to get a Roth IRA or a life insurance policy where the money is growing potentially tax-free, but definitely with tax advantages, tax deferred, and then it can be used tax-free in certain instances. teach your kids about how money works. That's super important. It's so frustrating that schools don't teach us anything about money. Maybe they do now. I don't know. My kids are in their 20s now. Maybe they changed it, but my kids didn't learn anything about money. I didn't learn anything about money. So just make sure your kids know how to save and know how not to get into debt. And if you find a penny on the ground, you think it's just a penny, it's nothing, pick it up. Give thanks to the universe for that money. So when you have gratitude for what you already have, then more good things are going to come your way.
I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you on that. And I think it's a sad statement that we don't teach some of these concepts, if not in high school, at least in college, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And, here I am 60 years old. And, if I had known all that stuff that you were just talking about when I started out having kids, geez, my goodness, I think I'd be retired now.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, somebody told me about whole life insurance about 20 years ago. It's a coworker of mine. She said she was paying $10,000 a month in premium, so she'd have $1 million at retirement. I thought, well, great for her, but I don't have $10,000 a year. Or actually, I did. I just thought I didn't because I was spending my money the wrong way. So if I had known then that I could actually utilize that money in the meantime by being my own bank, I could have paid for all my cars with it. Everything I bought, I could have just financed through my own policy. I just wish I had known then what I know now.
Well, Kathy, we've talked a lot about some great business tips, proactive procrastination and prioritizing, money for sure. But I want to ask you a question about the people in your life. And I want to know, who are some of the people that have been most influential to you?
Robert Kiyosaki was The Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That was the first book I read that kind of started me trying to get my money to work for me. So, and then Tony Robbins, of course, is very influential. But as an actual person that I know, I would say Casey Everhart is extremely influential. I am part of his Platinum Inner Circle, and I have learned so much from him. Just mindset alone, actually. Just, him telling you about, how to network properly and how to, talk to the influencers and how to run a business and systems and processes. So he's been a very, very big factor in my life for the past year and a half.
That's awesome. I love hearing that.
Yeah. And, he has regular networking events on Thursday afternoons at 3. So, and it's open to anybody. His Facebook group is growing in leaps and bounds. So it speaks for him and the quality of the work that he does with entrepreneurs. So if you're a listener here, do show up every Thursday from 3 to 4, just 1 hour. But you got to be there before 3:02 because he locks the door at 3:02. And at 4.00, we are done. And we have several breakout rooms in there where you get a chance to talk to other people. It's just a fantastic event. And I totally agree with you, Kathy, on that. So at this point, I would imagine all the listeners cannot wait to connect with you, Kathy, so they can learn how to become their own bank. So how can they find you?
Well, my email address is kscalzo3@gmail.com. And I can have you put the link to my calendar in the show notes so they can schedule an appointment or a free consultation. And then if they schedule that free consultation, I will first send them a presentation to watch. It's a 90-minute presentation. It's also broken down in 10 parts if you don't want to watch the whole 90 minutes at once. And then if after watching that, you don't want to continue with the appointment, you can just cancel the appointment. I'll give you my calendar link.
And there we go, a Calendly link. Did you all hear that, please? Listeners, a Calendly link. It's something you use to schedule appointments, the thing that you can send to your people, to your clients, to whoever wants to talk to you, so they can schedule an appointment so you don't have to go back and forth and back and forth. If you do not have a calendar link, whether that's Calendly or something else, it doesn't matter. You need to do that. Okay, so now I'm getting off my high horse.
I actually have to say that that has really changed my life right there. I have this really great time management coach who has encouraged me for years and years and years to get a link. And I recently realized that, oh, I can have people pay for their consultations up front when they book their appointment. So it really streamlines your life and makes it easy for sure. Well, thank you, Kathy. I really enjoyed the conversation that you had with us today. And thank you for sharing your wonderful insight and perspective.
Thank you for having me.
And as always, to our viewers, thank you for joining us today. If you or someone you know would like some guidance on finding balance and success like Kathy has, make sure you check out Christoph's website, balance6.biz. There you can learn more about Christoph and get his free report, 5 Secrets for Putting Your Business Growth on Autopilot. Thank you for coming and joining us. Until next time, make sure your money's working for you and have a better life and a better business.
This week's episode of Better Life, Better Business is brought to you by CA&C Video Productions. Since 1985, CA&C Video has been providing live streaming, event production, and analog to digital transfer services. They capture those life-changing moments, preserving your history for current and future generations. Because your history matters. Visit their website at cacvideo.com. Thank you so much for your sponsorship.
That's all for now. Thanks for listening to another episode of Better Life, Better Business with business and time management coach Christoph Nauer with Balance 6, the leading business and time management company in Northern California. Visit them at balance6.biz.